Round 3 of our Legends stage here and the second day of IEM Katowice 2019. It's the major. We start Counter-Strike year with a big one. The Spodek awaits, but for who? G2 and MIBR are next up on the chopping block. One win, one loss, and one rather harrowing loss for MIBR. Before the break, we heard Zeus talking about why he moved and explaining a little bit as to what's going on in the inner workings of the team, perhaps suggesting a loss of confidence at the moment once they've got those 5 back together. High expectations. We'll see if our analysts have the same. We do have Chad Sponge Birchall and Sean Gares with myself, Machine. High expectations, I mean, there's no doubt about it. Looking at the way other teams ranked them, how we've ranked them, who's put them in their pick'em, I'm looking at you and me. It wasn't the best start. It wasn't the most telling start for MIBR.
Not by any means. And all the excuses have to go out the window. I'm not saying they make excuses for themselves, but ones that we set for analysts from behind the scenes, like communication. That's no longer an element that they have to worry about. This team has already been successful in the past. Now, you look to them going back to this roster, bringing Zeus back in. To me, this reminds me that they're going back to the culture of success where they found it before. But the question mark is, has that bar shifted now? Because Astralis have definitely raised it. Can it just be as simple of, 5 guys who have a really good relationship with each other? Does it have to be a change in mentality outside of that?
They were fraggers too.
But you look at G2 though. G2 have 2 players, Kenny S and Shox, previous major winners, who have been humbled, who have been pushed all the way down to the doldrums, who have failed, and now they've had to rebuild rosters, and they have to go in a different pattern. They can't continue doing the same thing. I
actually saw Vitality's Apex take to Twitter as well to praise Kenny S for his individual performance, saying it's good to see Kenny playing that way again. And I will definitely be diving into what we expect from Kenny and G2, of course, taking on MIBR. But first, while we're on the topic, why don't we learn a little more about MIBR?
Made in Brazil's problems in 2018 were numerous and complicated. They were unable to secure any of the big trophies on the circuit. 2019 sees their team returning to their roots in many respects, bringing back in Taco and Phelps to recreate their strong 2017 lineup, but with the twist of 2016 coach Zeus returning to the ranks. MIBR want to wind back the clock to the days when their team was one of Counter-Strike's most clutch performers, always capable of battling back into any game and infamous for breaking opponents' hearts in close matches. Former best player in the world, coldzera, hopes this will be the lineup to again provide him the vehicle from which to dominate.
And they are made in Brazil now, of course. Let's not forget the likes of Taco must be thriving in this environment of, hey, back to Portuguese.
We have to check with Tommy that we can call them made in Brazil, though.
I mean, sure, MIBR. I'm sorry, I'll do it properly. But Sean, either way, names aside, it's good to have Taco back in the roster.
It is. It's very good to have Taco back. I think he's one of the best bomb site anchor / support players we have in the game. He plays such a selfless style of Counter-Strike. But honestly, MIBR needs more than Taco to come up big. They need more than Phelps. Fallen has really kind of fell off so far this term. He's the 4th worst performer so far in this stage, and they can't have that out of their star AWP player.
I think if you look at that Cloud9 game, right, the fact of the matter is they were finding territory in the mid rounds. They were able to get mid control, they were able to get banana control, but it felt like nobody wanted to take ownership of the situation. If you're going to play that default style of CS where you're aiming for picks, once you get to a certain point, somebody needs to pull the trigger, somebody needs to make the call, because you're just going to be stuck in limbo. 20 to 15 seconds to execute onto a bomb site, it's not enough time when a team's holding onto utility like Cloud9 were.
Certainly not, and we'll take out which map they're going to be holding utility on. It will be Inferno, famed for the success of holding utility as well, Chad. That works.
So I guess we can now look at what we saw from G2 yesterday.
Yeah, I think we have to.
They had a lot of good executes, right? They were able to get into bomb sites. They just weren't able to get anything done from there.
See, I actually think they got bullied by Na'Vi.
Yeah?
I think Na'Vi just disrespected them at every turn. Simple was playing so aggressively in middle. Same with Electronic, just looking for eco frags left and right. I don't think Na'Vi ever felt threatened in that game, so I don't know what to expect in this matchup right now because they both looked flat on Inferno yesterday.
Okay, so 2 flat teams on Inferno. It was, I'm trying to clarify, was the Inferno game, that was the Cloud9 loss,
yes,
right?
16-3.
So they lost 16-3.
And then they came back to it.
To a Cloud9 that got 60-0'd the same day. This is a real pickle.
Yeah, so sure, like if Zeus said they were feeling good in practice and stuff and they were scared or they started slow or nervous or whatever, then sure, we can factor that in here. But what we've seen so far from MIBR doesn't guarantee them a seed that they've been given, right? It doesn't sell them to me as a top team right now because they haven't had a chance to prove it. Right now against G2, this is one of the teams that we were thinking to be a whipping boy in this tournament, and now G2 have taken down big earlier in the tournament, so everything's up in the air.
Everything's up in the air and everything is spinning, certainly is over on the stages, because we are going to be getting once again into this one. G2 MIBR taking to the stage right here, right now. Strong team, let's not forget.
Versus one. Denies. Oh my goodness. There's a chance here. This is unbelievable. 1 versus 1 now. That is so sick.
Spicy shot on headshot, and we start to get them in to the arena. And let's not forget, they get a solid upgrade of their stage as soon as they do complete those 3 wins necessary. MIBR first, of course, with their fancy jerseys. But this is a team that we really need to see more from. Our analysts here baffled. I'm sure they are as well. Their coach seemed to be on a similar that's not an expression. Let me think again.
Had a similar mindset.
Mindset. There we are. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Well, it's too early.
I think that, it is only the best of 1 so far, and this is a chance for them to redeem themselves on Inferno and just show it was the opening best of 1 of the tournament where they got blown out, Alex. So with G2 coming in, this is a team who, towards the end of the Challenger stage, proved their worth on maps like Dust 2 and Cache. But now as we go forward, they have bigger opponents to take on.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. I have to say, I am warming to the concept of G2, Sean. This is a team that, admittedly, they had to work so hard to get out of challenges. 3 map brawls versus Fnatic and Tyloo, who pushed them to their very limits. Individuals like Shox, like Kenny, instrumental factors in getting to the Legends stage. Sweating versus Big, though. I mean, I don't know how much I should read into that. 16-13. Inseparable between the two of them, and we have been critical of Big so far.
I actually had a lot of hope for Big coming into this event, but they started playing Mirage, which is a map they didn't play. G2 has looked phenomenal, like you said, ever since, those first 2 maps they played in the previous stage. Ever since they played, Fnatic on those last 2 maps, Tyloo. I didn't think they looked very good against Na'Vi, if I'm being honest, but they have turned around in a significant way.
Well, one of the things that we did note, at least with G2, was against some of the teams they were playing against in the Challenger stage, they had more experience just because of the body, Kenny S, and Shox factor. Well, that goes out the window now. They're the ones with the least experience because they have Lucky and Jax who are new to this level. Now, they're going to need to step up. We have seen the double AWP setup come in from G2, but Inferno is not a map where you can run it as easily on that CT side. You can be punished a lot more with the economy. I'm expecting in this game, especially on the T side for MIBR, a lot more decisiveness for them to be a lot quicker, a lot of higher pace, and to take the fight to G2.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the MIBR we saw yesterday, we will not see again today. They won 3 gun rounds spread out throughout that first half. Their economy was never in a good spot, and they were actually getting map control in a lot of these rounds. It's just small communication breakdowns that cause them to go at incorrect timings. I think we see a much better MIBR here today.
A much better MIBR meeting a much better Kenny S as well, of course acknowledged by former teammate Apex recently in the social stratosphere. I think Shox as well has been a conversation given how invested he is into this. He has once again been given the responsibility of leadership, and it's been a real kind of tale of success and failure mixed into one big pile of Counter-Strike from Shox. He's been given this leadership intermittently, and have we ever seen him truly thrive under that leader banner?
I think the problem is with Shox, he has so many ideas and he's such a big personality that he probably wrestles the leadership back or undermines any actual in-game leaders that he's had over time. Right. So you look at him in this position and calling all the shots. The problem that comes in is he is the flex player. He's the guy running around doing whatever he wants. It's so difficult to focus on your crosshair while trying to micromanage the rest of your team in that in-game leadership position. So he probably needs somebody to step up as the second in charge to make mid-round calls when, he's not able to do that.
I will say that Shox does do an excellent job of creating executes and things like that for G2 to basically have a safety net to fall back on. Unlike a lot of the other teams here, they have very innovative strats that we've seen. The Cash B bomb site execute comes to mind. They had a couple cool executes yesterday on Inferno. So that kind of stuff for them to fall back on really helps Shox as an in-game leader, in my opinion.
So we've got our checklist. Fallen, we need to see some frag from him. His ADR is closing in on 50, not really fragging in his opening gambits with MIBR. Kenny S, of course, his counterpart on the G2 side. We want to see some more strong executes and bringing the fight. Now that's MIBR you're talking about there, Sean. You want to see MIBR bringing the fight to G2.
I do. I want to see Fallen be aggressive in this first half. We didn't really get to see much out of their CT side yesterday, but in the previous major, we saw so much out of Fallen on that CT side. He was revitalized as an opera, in my opinion, at that major. And we need to see that side of him come here.
Yeah, just the last thing with G2 on those executes, they did have some, good variation, but there was some details missing. There was one on the B-bomb site where they actually did wall smokes and tried to wrap towards CT. Jax actually mollied off his teammates coming through construction, and they lost the round. So they can't have those misplays happen against a team like MIBR here today.
Yeah, let's not forget, of course, new additions to G2, yet to be acknowledged. It is Jax and Lucky. It looks like we're jumping into the pistol. It's time to jump in. A best of one. Inferno again for MIBR versus G2. Henry, Sado, take it away.
Inferno again, you gotta think that might be a problem for them because it certainly wasn't convincing yesterday and they continue to rely on it on the MIBR side. That said, G2, is this the chance that they could actually get a step ahead after a very shaky start to this entire major last week challenger stage, even now in the new Legends?
We'll have to see, Matthew. Both of these teams suffering a loss here on Inferno. It is going to be G2, though, making their way through Spawn. Well, I guess we're not actually going to see much here at all. It's just going to be Shoxy who will be holding towards the bottom of middle. Very, very aggressive on the T side as they are shut down completely. It is going to be Phelps that closes things out, and a very fast banana split coming in there from G2. They managed to get towards Spawn. You'd think that's actually a nice point of access towards the bomb side there, but the CT's caught in transition, find every single headshot, and it will be Cold Zero Fallen. Phelps delivering the pain. As we get into the second round here, we are going to see, of course, the force buy from G2. They have found success with this, but no bomb plant means no rifle. It's going to be stuck to just pistols here as they go PD50 CZ, a couple of smokes and a Molotov. Jax has got the MAC-10, but I'm not sure this is going to be the buy that finds them the round. We will see, though. They are up against 4 MP9s. An interesting approach there from MIBR, just a 1 rifle. That's in the hands of Fallen, and the analysts discuss his struggles recently. Good grenade, though. Doesn't do too much damage.
Does not at all. It's Taco. Tries to work back in toward Banana. Excuse me, toward the apartments. It's further, it's going to rotate off Banana. Smokes down top mid. Body's still waiting on the inside of it. G2 trying to answer back with a force buy of these pistols with armor going against SMGs. Yeah. The fact that they've got the helmets, the MP9s, don't necessarily mean that they'll be able to mow them down cold. He does get one. Taco finds it, but there's the trades. Pistols have just as much potency in terms of movement speed getting inside of the site, and with the range of the MP9, it certainly becomes limited. Phelps gets it much closer now as Shox realizes he can't plant the bomb. They're all over him. They'll finally get him down inside of the site. 3 staying alive. Importantly, so is the AUG.
Another quick approach there from G2, this time focusing towards the A side. They managed to trade out a couple of kills out of the apartments, but that force buy against the MP9s falls flat. Now going to have to take the full eco here. It's going to be 3-0 MIBR. Almost certainly at this stage, G2 can't afford to purchase anything up at this stage of the round. So we'll see them just have Glocks, maybe a Deagle or 2. As let's say, Shox and Jax are that way inclined. So their buy will be pretty decent next round, but Kenny S might be limited, might have to take a few compromises in terms of his full setup with the AWP. We will see. As this round comes through, we're expecting a clean sweep for the Brazilians. Shouldn't be too much of an ordeal. The question mark lies in the next round. If they keep all 5 players up here, do they upgrade one of the weapons to an AWP perhaps, or do they hold on to the MP9s and go super aggressive? I would say maybe throw one of them away against the AKs, get the AWP. Let's get Fallen online. As for now, CT's aggressive as ever. Maybe a little bit too aggressive, Matt.
Maybe so. As Fallen gets 2 more, make it a 3rd. He does hold that AUG in great position, but finally gets caught out by Body. He'll drop down, and that means now they open up B site just for rotating back inside of the angle. Back to the position at the top of CT, and he's got Shox and Body down on entry, so they hold true with the guns. The force buy in the previous round limited G2 significantly. But as you say, what comes out now? What's the call? Fallen goes down after getting 3 kills. He's got 6,100. I think that's rather evident, is it not?
Absolutely. He does bring out the AWP, and it's a classic map for him. MIBR haven't performed in it so far. Yesterday, losing to Cloud9 16-3. They couldn't get going at all, but we'll see if this good start leads to a more successful structure overall. Will they be able to get the nice full buyout here? They are going to keep 2 MP9s. The AWP comes out for Fallen, and I feel like he has to be a little bit more active at the start of the round with the lack of firepower. They're going to be suffering here. Incendiary throwing towards the underpass, and as Kenny Esther gets past, he does actually get the AWP for himself, but like we said, there will be compromises. He has no armor. That's actually quite a big deal on the T side of Inferno. You're very vulnerable to grenades and, of course, the bullets, as they actually get fast mid-control here. CT's in a very passive setup, and it is going to be a quick trade of frags now.
Certainly is. Taco. Smoke to his left inside of the door means that he could have focused toward quad, but elects to back off of it. They will bring Phelps over to support that angle, and he's got the AUG. So he's got the range to his advantage. Kenny can certainly take that range and stuff it right up the window because he's got the AWP. He's going to try and open up toward the pit position, which we know is such a strong position to hold from. If they wrap from quad now, they pinch them in. And you can see that Fallen's still holding on that side. Taco, good peek. 2 with the MP9. That gives Phelps an easy shot towards Shocks. Kenny's rotated around to the apartment hallway instead. Just missed on that. Somehow gets away with it, though. Drops down. How's he missing these? Normally, Kenny's got one of those at least.
Yeah, that's not looking too good for him. 3 opportunities. Not the easiest of shots, but yes, by Kenny S standard, at least one of those is connecting. And as you saw, no armor. Very vulnerable to the pistol there, taking down 1 bullet, even after Fur missed a couple of shots. It is going to be 4-0. MIBR looking alive here today. And they've got a double AWP setup going into the next round. Cold Zero recovers Kenny's AWP. So they've got a lot of cash and good foundations going forward as well. You can hear the tactical timeout has been called, I assume, by G2 at this stage, as their money has reached maximum loss bonus, but no real plans coming through. Means they have got a few that can't really fully invest. Body and Kenny could have bought Galil's Kevlar. If they want to get an AK, they wouldn't have helmets, which is actually a big deal on Inferno. And Jax, same story for him as well. So it's just Lucky and Shocks that can bring out the full buys. Will they want to do that? I would say probably wait, considering the way this has gotten so far. Let's not let it spiral out of control and be limited for the rest of the half. Take the partial buy here, have the full buy next round, and actually get Kenny with some armor, get the utility you need, and start running some defaults and some executions. We'll see what the decision is as we get into the next round. They haven't purchased anything yet. They've got 2 seconds left until we enter the next one, and it is going to be the partial buy coming through. So those CZs, Deagles, Mac-10 once again. For 2 of the players, Cold Zero knows he has more than enough freedom here to pick towards right down those T steps. No real chance of an AWP on the other side.
Oh my God.
See ya.
Cold was staring at that and still got absolutely wrecked by Kenny. He knows that angle. He's not unfamiliar with standing in that position and trying to get shots down mid.
He's going to get the AWP. Oh, he's done it. Not bad. He's got armor as well.
This is significant, yeah. Armor op. Got head armor on everyone else. If they could perchance get another rifle up to complement the 2 Mac-10s, then they're really onto something. And Kenny goes right back around to the same position, tries to fire into the smoke. Can also start to put a little bit of pressure on Banana at this point in time, something they hadn't done so far in the round, but he can certainly open that up with a single shot toward Fallen. It would be off first off, but he's got other ideas. Oh my goodness. Who's going to spot the other first? I was going to say, I think Fur would be able to spot the Shin. Nonetheless, it's not a kill. He gets the clip through the wall. Kenny goes down to 28, but Body has Phelps tries to switch over to the AUG, gets caught out by Taco, who now buries himself inside of the site, but around quad they go, and G2 has position. They've got Fur as well. Kenny is opening up the round, 2nd kill, and they know Taco's stuck inside, so Shocks tries to swing. He gets him on the CZ as well.
Here we go, looking much better for G2. That opening 1D from Kenny S has led them to success here on the A site. He manages to recover the AWP. A little bit of a plucky play through the smoke as well, grabs it. Could have been maybe possibly naded back or taken away by the CTs, but couldn't react in time. He grabs it, manages to get a 2nd kill, and then they swarm the A site. Fallen will have no choice but to save the AWP, but MIBR will be fine with that. They know G2 are going to be a dangerous team, and those sort of rounds happen. It's not like they did anything catastrophically wrong, just a very nice shot from Kenny S, and sometimes there's not much you can do about that.
Fallen still doing damage to keep that AWP up. So they get the 4-0 start. Naturally, Fallen went on to the AWP, but G2 finally respond and get their first T-sided round. It comes on the back of an eco, but a phenomenal Deagle shot, it has to be said, to find the opener. to make sure he got the op as well, secured that with a smoke. No one else in position, and Cold was the one that went down. Didn't look too pleased with it. He sits at 4-4, Cold. No one really far and away outreaching any other, but Kenny, those were his first real impact kills. He's only got 3 in the game so far, but how spectacular was that?
Yeah, like I said, Cold Zera, as far as he's aware, they don't have an AWP. That's a safe angle to hit, and a 1 dig at that range with that angle is incredibly difficult. It's surprising to see Kenny has missed those initial AWP shots we saw in the first gun round, but then goes on to hit those deagles. So maybe we'll see a little bit more out of him as the game progresses. CTs for now, boosting behind the half wall, trying to get vision and take full control of the banana area. You can see Fallen actually boosted on the half wall right now. He's got the AWP. Ideally, they want to get him set up so he can be a solo player. Allow Fur to fall back towards A. He's actually going back towards that side now. It puts a lot of pressure on Fallen, but with the AWP on the half wall, he can take a shot, drop down, and exit safely.
Nade in, that's going to do damage. They're all there. Oh, that works too.
Before the nade lands?
Yeah, just wrecks him with a double shot. One was a dink, and then the second was a follow-up body shot. M4, obviously. Gotta love that. 2 bullets through a smoke with an M4 and get a kill. It's about as perfect as it gets. Kenny's gonna try and make amends with it. He will this time. We saw him miss a few shots toward the pit 2 rounds ago. It was a 1-on-3 situation, but maybe he could have done something with it. This time he pulls it back. The problem is they don't check the cubby. Fur's inside of it. Flash, Molotov wants to get himself out of the angle. Hold it for now, maybe, because with those flames, they won't be able to push through. And if they do, it's tradable. They'd have to go wide to find the cubby position, and then Cold would be immediately on the case.
So Cold is coming to back him up right now. He knows he's stuck in there, so if they focus on his position, they can work together. Nice shot from Fallen. He does exactly what he has to there. He's on the half wall. He's got a bit of information. He's legged Lucky and actually fallen back passively to the side. That's going to encourage Fur to rotate. So now it is a 2-on-2 on the A side. That's what G2 want to finish up here, but they haven't really got the time. 20 seconds. They need Kenny has to get a quick pick here and then make their way towards a bomb site. Both players quite passive on the CT side. Taco waiting in the pit here, just looking to deny the plants. They've already done that by the looks of things. As Lucky goes down, Kenny S tries to escape. Not going to happen. It's a harsh reset, but remember, G2 did win a partial buy before, so they haven't been completely financially ruined. As you can see, a couple of players still there able to invest, but considering they only got 1 kill in the previous round, I would say the force buy not really applicable here. If you had got 2 or 3 kills there, you could really go for the reset, but is it worth it at this point? You're already 5-1 down. You can't really afford to keep throwing rounds away at this stage. We'll see whether they take another tactical timeout, perhaps. This is a best-of-1 environment. Well, and they will.
Yeah, there's one being used right now because you could see Zeus was already being quite vocal, so obviously he'd been unmuted, which can only happen at pre-match, halftime, and during one of the potential 8 tactical timeouts before that they would call.
G2 have only played Inferno twice as a 5. They lost to Na'Vi 16-7 and beat Avangar on it. Decent result against Avangar.
Very, considering that I'm going to say right now, I love underdog stories.
Yeah.
I love when people underrate teams and they show them and prove them wrong. I think Avangar is that team right now. I'm a huge fan. James is spectacular. Kickert is so damn explosive.
He really is.
And Krizen's been pretty effective at just holding down angles and getting multi-kills. That team's got good ingredients to make a case in this major. Speaking of making a case, how about making a statement down middle? Phelps, again, this time he's not pushed banana. He's gone from mid. I make reference to the last time we saw them play G2 when Phelps was on this lineup and it was catastrophic.
Yes, indeed.
This time they get one at least.
Well, we'll see what can be done. This is the partial buy from G2. They've managed to win rounds with pistols before. Aggressive again against the lesser weapons. Need to be careful here, but luckily it looks like they'll be okay. They take a couple of dinks and swap over some weapons, give Taco the AWPs. He can play very defensively, but it looks like the round is done. You can see they're all quite low as they make their way in towards B. There's going to be a flashbang coming in the air from Fur, but he's still vulnerable here as he will go down. This could yield a bomb plant. We shall see. Fallen can't really commit to this, but grenade looks decent. Might be able to follow up with a frag. It doesn't quite connect, but look how low they are. Shouldn't be a world where MIBR give this round up, but all of a sudden it turns on his head. How has Lucky managed to hit that shot with such low HP? And now Taco with the AWP, he has to wait for his teammate to go in first.
Certainly does. Cold finds the immediate kill onto Shocks.
Good incentive.
Low HP as well for Kenny and Lucky. That forces them out. Lucky hits it though. He only had 7 HP. 1 tick of the Molotov, he goes down, but he gets the shot off on Cold beforehand. And it's Kenny with nowhere to go. Molotovs are everything. They force them off the angle. I think Taco's got just enough time on the defuse. And it will now be a 6th round for MIBR.
It just about comes together there. Taco with the clever plays with the utility, lucky to pick up a second incendiary from the floor and take his total up to 7 kills, 4 deaths. Great work by him. AWP didn't seem like the best situation for him, but when they were so low, he could flush them out and manage to win out the round. Good job by Lucky to actually bring the round that close. That was a partial buy, but unless you win on the T side, it can be very disappointing to get that close. This was the kill from him to actually get a rifle, and then he started doing real work with that AUG. Scoped in, managing to hit the headshots, and before he went down to the flames as well, got his third. 6-1 though, as Fur will try and get aggressive again towards the banana area. They've got incendiaries down towards T-Steps here, and we'll see if he wants to go any further. He's going to challenge T-Steps. We've talked about his aggression maybe being a little bit too predictable. It seems like they're pushing middle and banana a lot here. Shock's just waiting at T-Steps. You're not going to find much easier frags than that.
Old and Taco going aggressive, but Kenny already there with the AWP. He's got the shot on Taco. Quite effective, quite easily. Tries to slip back out. He'll get Jax, but Body's still inside of the doorway, wants to hold him off, and they get more and more aggressive because Phelps pushed the smoke on the opposite side, knowing Cold was taking aggression. That means they had to be giving someone up and fall, and look at that, out and wide. Finds 2, Lucky and Shocks with 1 bullet.
That's not bad at all, exactly what they needed. That's a bit of vintage Fallen there. Manages to get the collateral, and Cold Zera pushing the apartments. This is looking so good. Can't quite find the kill on Body, but he has done damage and stays alive, so that's fine. 40 seconds remain here as the T scramble to make something of this round. Cold Zera still pushing smoke, still getting information, as you can hear them wrapping around towards that A site. If he gets one of these kills, it's round done. If he goes down with nothing, GT might stand a chance.
Cold needs to be careful of the fact that Graveyard's covered off. Certainly didn't have that awareness because Body gets the free shot on the side of him. 2-on-2. Phelps already on the case, though. Bomb planted on the back of Cold going down, but it's all on Body. They know where he is. Flash nearly cost them because it was thrown as Phelps looked away, but that was exactly when Body peaked. He almost got a free shot, but Fallen's got the angle, and it's now 7-1. This looks much better from MIBR than it did yesterday, and those smiles were not necessarily as present.
Well, the individual plays are coming out. We saw Fur, like I said, pretty predictable with his aggression these days. It seems like everyone's just waiting to start the round to see where he heads towards. He actually challenged it right down at the T-Steps alone without backup from a flashbang or anything. That's an audacious move, but here's Fallen, recovering the situation. He almost got 3 out of that. That would have been insane, but he manages to finish off with 3 kills in total, taking out the last player towards a pip. Phelps did a very good job of actually attacking the site. Once he realized the bomb was planted, he can maybe steal a player away.
Yeah, he certainly could have tried to do so. The interesting thing, at 7-1 now for Brazil, take from that what you will, is quite simply the fact that Taco said yesterday, despite that this is a previous lineup they've worked with and something they're familiar with, there was a lot of nerves in yesterday's games. That was the debut for the team. That's how long it's been since the transition was made. Getting Taco back in, getting Phelps back in, and now from when they had their opening matches, maybe they did just need to settle into it. Maybe today, maybe one night at sleep after 2 games, a couple shaky ones. Obviously the Cloud9 loss was way off the mark from what they would have expected. Maybe that's all they needed, just one night to talk it over. You get Zeus back on board, he's familiar with how to coach these guys. Maybe they are going to be the whole new team that we expect from this point onward.
It's been a couple of months since any of these players have been in a tournament, maybe just warming up into it. It's never too late. They're only 1-1 right now, but this is a fantastic start. And Phelps looks confident. They don't seem as cagey as yesterday, and Fallen's hitting some wonderful shots here with the AWP. That's what we want to see. We want to see him and Kenny S go toe-to-toe here. Kenny will get 1 before he goes down, but 4 players survive for the Brazilians. They are 8-1 up here on the CT side of Inferno in this best-of-1 affair. G2 looking to avoid the 1-2 situation. Can be a little bit daunting down there. But for now, they do have AKs once again. Kenny has no AWP. Not necessarily required on the T side of Inferno. Shoxy will bring in the AKs as well. These guys not opting for the Kriegs at all. A lot of teams have been having a couple of players on that weapon, but it's
Elijah's just going to main it all event. They already stated that he will. He's gotten to know the spray pattern. It's drastically different than the AK, but Elijah sees massive potential on entry with it. So
I had a thought last night. If you're a CT-sided player, right, and you're maining the AUG right now, would you pick up a Krieg over an AUG because it has more tap potential?
No. I'm going to get back to that because this is a setup that needs to work for them. If Bolt misses a shot, Taco's going to be in trouble. He baits it in. Jax, good return. That's a bit aggressive from Taco to be that far down the hall. Usually we say you want to be both in a position that you can jump out. They wanted to bait him in. It didn't work. The reason I say no is for the same reason that it's not already being mained by more players on the T side. it might be a better weapon. There's an argument for it. DPS factor, forgetting the headshot, the one-shot potential of the AK. Fallen this time's not going to have quite such a spectacular shot over a B. He's forced off. Utility will hold them off. But because no one's gotten used to the different firing rate from the AK and the drastically different spray pattern, until we see it actually become a prevalent weapon in any situation, it's not like they're going to pick it up on the CT side. Once maybe someone's really, maybe Elige will because he's used to it, right? Someone like that, maybe he will, but otherwise no.
The reason I ask is because in the Liquid NIP game yesterday, CTs were actually running past AKs to hold onto their AUG, and I thought that's an interesting idea. Like, we've actually got to that point now. Would they favor the Krieg and have the best of both worlds? But either way, it is going to be Lucky to crack open the B side. It's another 3 versus 3 here, make it 2, as Lucky will actually continue to find frags. That's 2 in the round, and the bomb's planted. CT's pretty far away. We know MIBR are deadly on the retakes, however much time is remaining, and you can see coldzera waiting for a mistake to be made. Will the T's peek for a bit of information? It looks like possible. Zeal, hold up now.
Keep in mind this will be a 4-round reset, so every kill is going to matter. If they can get the op out of Kenny's hands, significant, and it's very difficult for him to exit the site from that position. Phelps goes down, Kenny gets the shot. That'll do it. That'll get him out of there. No problem. They'll keep all 3 guns up.
G2 with the second. Like you said, 3 weapons surviving. Kenny's got the AWP once again. Money actually not fantastic for MIBR. That's how quickly Counter-Strike can change. You lose 1 round, have a close one before that, all of a sudden, the game flips on its head. They're on the T side of Inferno as well. They're aiming for about 5 or 6 rounds. ID a lot more, but considering the start they've had, we'll see what they're up against here. No armor, upgraded pistols. 1 smoke and a flashbang. G2 probably not fully aware that they're going to be this low. So they're going to just be running a pretty default round right here. You can see 1 player holding passively towards Banana, not actively going for the control. Want to make sure there's no aggression at the very start. It's actually a 4 stack from the Brazilians at that side of the map. Good grenade, does significant damage to them. Lucky they've got the bomb. If he goes down here, Matt, this could be disastrous.
Oh, he got, well, he still hasn't got himself out of it. He got very fortunate that he didn't get caught with his knife out. With a smoke down, walking away. Bomb is dropped, but luckily they already had attention turned back that direction. Shocks made good work of getting 3 kills, and the fact that they pushed Banana, as soon as they grab this bomb, he's going to confirm it's clear. They should just head straight to B with he and Kenny, but Jax, I say that, is already in A, so they could go back that way as well. Phelps, all right, Jax has done, oh, he did. He had it right, he had it perfect. He cleared the site, and the only position they could have caught the bomb in transition from was top mid. He checked it. That's when Phelps kind of snuck in under the radar, but either way, Kenny went the safe route through the apartments.
Well, looks like they should be fine. With the bomb planted, I don't see Phelps being able to do much with this. And indeed, waiting at the bottom of middle, Shoxy will claim his 4th kill. A bit of a scary moment there when they push Banana. You've got the bomb with the knife out, like he said. He manages to actually make a nice move and a good decision under pressure there, getting in towards the underpass and making sure he could at least stay alive for his teammates to back him up. He didn't lose the bomb in a horrible position, like right at the bottom of the Banana where the CTs are pushing. So he managed to at least get himself away from the action, and Shoxy could clean up. So it will be 8-3 back on the AWP. No double AWP set up this time around. They are going to have 3 AUGs though. Taco staying true to the M4. coldzera at the top of the scoreboard right now with 12 and 8. As the CTs maybe are combating towards B once again, but it's going to be Fer taking down the aggression, trying to get the control. He will be punished for it.
Fallen takes a nade as well, down to 58. He'll back off. He did use a bit of utility to safely secure the position. They've already rotated it back over as well. They've got Phelps towards CT spawn.
So at this stage, you have an opening pick on the T side. You have the majority of utility. You've got good map control towards the apartments as well. That is going to slow you down, though. Decent incendiary will buy a little bit of time for rotations here from the CTs. You can see Phelps considering it now as he transitions from the B bomb site towards A. But G2 with this advantage, as long as they send 5 players to one area, they should be able to trade this one out. coldzera not really in a multi-frag position, but he's getting it done. He's making it work as he gets 3 kills. Taco will back him up. That is fantastic work by him. They didn't expect him to be in the open like that. Most CT setups are very passive, and Lucky is anything but. It actually goes down to the 1 versus 1. How has he made this happen? He's playing a great game so far.
He knows where Taco is as well. He knows he's stuck inside of the pit at this point in time. He could back off. He has the bomb. There's no need to overcommit to an A plant. He can actually book it to B at this point and beat Taco there, no question about it. But he wants Taco to have that shadow of doubt in his mind that he's already left, that he's going to walk out. Lucky pulls it back brilliantly. 4 kills to clutch it back, and it's now 3 rounds in a row for G2.
Finally, I'm starting to recognize why these guys got a bit of hype around them. I hadn't seen it up until this point, but they're looking sharp. coldzera and Taco managed to get, 4 kills in this position? Lucky comes in and just decimates him. It looked like this round is completely done for. Somehow he manages to make this play here. Absolutely wondrous second shot as he goes through the smoke there. So calm. And you got to ask yourself, the CTs, I understand they're trying to back Taco up. That wasn't necessarily the worst play in the world, but it certainly wasn't the most calculated. If they wanted to win the round, just holding up for that smoke and forcing him to make the next mistake, that would have been the way to play it. But still, Lucky, no one's expecting him to hit those sort of shots. That was absolutely astonishing.
Yeah, could have easily locked them in at that point in time just by holding on the other side, but Taco's so low. They wanted, as you say, to support him. 9 kills for Taco, just to note, but Cold leads the way on 15. On the other side, it's Shocks on 12.
And running through smokes, his Inferno is on the way. You got to have a grey screen, essentially, and when you come out of that smoke, the T's can actually see you before you're, well, the CT side in this equation come through. So the fact that Lucky gets a bit of an advantage in that sense, he hadn't planted the bomb yet, he's almost fed those kills. Incredibly difficult shots, but he makes it work, and he's looking like a bit of a star today. That was very, very good indeed. Shoxy trying to get that banana control. The CTs have been very aggressive this game. Maybe a little bit too aggressive in the previous round after getting 4 kills, and it all crumbles. It's going to be a frustrating one to give away. Bit of a stack towards the quad side here. We got 2 players there. We'll see if this will be enough. They're actually going to try and bait in Phelps. It's quite an interesting setup here. So the idea is you have this 2-man setup towards quad. If they kill both of these players, they won't suspect a third in towards that pillar position.
Flash covers off body completely. You're right. It's a different setup than what you're used to seeing, but it has a very clear purpose to it. Taco's also supporting to make sure that they can't sneak out the apartments behind them.
Molotov actually landed on their feet there, so both had to cut down. So not going to see that really come into full effect, and I don't think Fallen can do much here either. He might be able to get some damage off. Actually, a kill. That's pretty insane. He manages to get that. He won't get anything more, but the fact he even gets one with just a USP and no utility is pretty good. As his teammates now will scramble and see if there's anything to recover. Can they take a couple of AKs away and maybe get out of the round with a rifle?
Planted toward oranges 1. Jax. He'll get a smoke down to the back 10. Kenny's already stepping up with the AWP. In fact, doubly so. He'll find Taco as well. Body got cold. Fur's really all that's in this. And let's see if he can get an AK-47. What a turn and a half. MIBR get 8. They were 8-1 up. We thought this looks spectacular. This is more what we thought we'd see. This is more of the communication. Everyone's getting kills. They're getting aggressive in situations, playing as a unit, as a team. Now G2 turns things around. And it's on the back of a few spectacular individual moments. Jax, by the way, only has 5 kills total. He had 4 in that round. It's now 5 rounds total for G2 as we hit round 14. Money this time for MIBR. There's money for the rest of the half on the G2 side, but if they win this, they could make this 8-7 quite easily.
Well, win taken out of their sails. Will they continue to push positions and try and dominate the map? They don't have the AWP to fall back onto now as rounds start to slip away. Great start from MIBR, but G2 certainly looking dangerous now, and it's not the same old names we talk about. Kenny S and Shox, who are actually seeing some big plays on the young guns as well. Finally, they're showing their worth as we go into round number 14. Apartment's control, and that grenade could do a lot of damage indeed. 2 of them go through, and Jax is down at 26. Body not as effective, but he's got himself up towards quad, but not for long.
Taco gonna use the bike. Ooh, spots one, just barely got out of the way as well. Kenny with the IEWP was firing in toward the hole in the window, or the wall. Shock still holds top mid. He'll watch behind the smoke. First solo B at this point in time, but not getting information on Banana. He's not scouting it at all.
He's getting a rotation from Phelps at this point. I think that's the right call. You have the man advantage. Why would you risk everything with a solo play towards B? Hold the crossfires, run down the time up. And in terms of utility towards B, they actually have 2 flashbangs. That's about it. So no smokes to actually push back an execution here, but it doesn't look like G2 are heading in that direction, at least for now. As they get that mid control, it's Kenny has to try and open things up towards the arch side. Fallen takes down that initial threat, but a trade comes through, but the CT's still with the advantage here.
Certainly. Cold inside of the site, Taco inside of the pit. Cover quad. Smokes can go down in front of library. That suggests, rather makes it obvious that in fact they are going to rotate that position. Flashes as well. Cold gets caught. Double flash. Wasn't ready for it. That gives Shocks the run in. Taco's got to be perfect. Oh, he nearly is. Snapped up high as well, but Jax just barely got away with one. 22 HP. He's got to clutch again. Bomb down. Both rotating over from the B site. No kits on either player. AUG for one, M4 for the other. 2 flashes. No smoke. It's going to be a heads-up duel. They'll play this for trade. They'll go together at every possible instance, and they'll go relatively quickly on this. Jax could actually get a lineup if they don't check the proper position toward Graveyard. Headshot potential for the AK. He's got to look the right spot. Knows and sees and lines up. He's got both again. Brilliant from Jax.
How does this keep happening? G2 are digging so deep for these rounds. It looks like that had no chance. That position as well, you'd think it'd be a trade, but the timing works out perfectly for him. He's looking towards Apps, Quad, Arch as well, trying to work out where they'll be heading towards. They both walk in the same position for the mentality you described. They're trying to trade it out. They're trying to play together and have a 2-on-1 situation instead of 2 separate 1-on-1s, and that actually leads to their demise. They both get taken down with the spray, and we go into the final round of the half with just MP9s for FAMAS and M4 for Taco, but that's a huge, huge round there, and Kenny S does take an 8 at the start of the round, but that shouldn't be too catastrophic. He can just play accordingly now, a little bit more passive than trying to open things up. CT's trying to get the B control at this point, waiting for the flames to go down and dropping a smoke just to get them some control of this area. You can see Fur, he's feeling it. He wants to get down there towards the bottom.
I've got to do something. Fur and Fallen, most notably on B, by the way. I mentioned that round. It was a round that he took a lot of flack for, Phelps. He and Fur pushed on 15-12 in favor of MIBR. Lost. Economy broke. They went to overtime with G2. Lost the map. G2 went on to the finals and won the event as a result of it. And it shouldn't have happened. Body, good find on Cold. It was over-aggression from 2 players of similar style in one spot. Fallen's a little more calculated. He'll play this correctly with Fur. They've rotated Phelps off that position as a result of it, but ultimately, it is what led to his departure from SK at the time. He didn't like the pressure. He didn't feel that he deserved to be there, and he took it very personally at that point in time. Good find from Phelps. He makes up for it now, and this is what they talked about. He's matured in INTZ, and he's come back over for a reason.
Really great half of Counter-Strike there. He's had so much high-octane action, lots of clutches, and looks like the stars are shining today. We'll see if we can have G2 close things out and make a bit of a comeback after this break.
We get back underway in our best of ones. It's a 1-1 decider match between MIBR, who had a very slow start yesterday, and G2, who we never know what to expect from. It's 9-6. Half had a bit of everything, I think.
It certainly did. It looked like MIBR got to run away with the initial half there, but Kenny S with the 1D, he opened the floodgates. They managed to get some amazing rounds put together. The individual stars absolutely shining there, and we're starting to see a bit more of the Lucky and Jax as well, who managed to perform under a lot of pressure here. It is 9-6 for G2 now on the CT side, the more preferred half, and we'll see if they can win the pistol here. I would say much needed, and MIBR's T side is where they usually have problems on this map. We'll see what they can do as Jax and Body now to be challenged behind the smokes. Damage inflicted though, and it's going to be a very fast wrap towards the A site from the MIBR boys.
Fallen and Taco immediately on the case. Jax is going to go back inside smoke. He's trying to just stay alive at this point in time. Shox will give him help in doing so, but only for so long. Fur down, Cold gets the response. Bomb planted. Lucky and Shox. Lucky absolutely destroyed by Cold, who re-entered from the boiler doorway. Knew he was there, knew he was peeking him, and Phelps does the same to Shox. 10-6, they get the second pistol.
Both pistols in favor of MIBR, both of them very fast and action-packed affairs, I would say. They managed to push on their CT side and kill absolutely everyone within a few seconds, and this time they waste nothing at all with going together towards the arch side, managing to wrap towards our bomb site and hit all the shots with the Glocks. No problem whatsoever for them. Didn't really have to break a sweat. Grenades not landing at all on the G2 side. I'm going to see a little bit of a partial investment from them here. A lot of teams actually opting for a force buy in the second round of Inferno on the CT side after losing pistol, because you can play with the CZ and smokes and play accordingly defensively in the cubby holes and actually make it very dangerous indeed for the terrorist forces. But they haven't got the armor here. Going to be focusing on the bigger picture, and we'll see if they can get any sort of damage done here. You can see they still have their smoke, so they can treat this like a gun round and try and buy as much time as possible. As soon as they detect a threat, drop a smoke and buy themselves some time and hopefully hold them back as long as they possibly can.
Fur drops in. Does get one on Body, but not aware that Jax is on the same position. Phelps will nade, hoping that it'll add to damage. The gun did more, but a great repeat. Jax on the Deagle takes him down inside of the pit. Watch for Cold. He wants to spray it. Smoking themselves off. They'll transfer to the corner. Left side sight. That's the angle removed, and it also means they've got to step in deeper toward the pit to get the peek in that angle, and as a result, two players at Library become a lot more relevant. With smokes down in that position, though, it's going to be difficult for them to try and spot in with their teammates. And Taco's aware that they could be in the corner. Jax up above, who's going to drop off, not wanting to get sprayed through. Taco changes his aim. They're just slowing it down, trying to buy themselves some space and time. Still two toward Quad. Fallen's there as well. He'll enter now. Smoke's gone. They can start to just go in and look for the vision directly. Taco and Cold. Fallen to close it out.
Ooh, I thought for a second there G2 might be onto something, but it's a nice calculated finish from the Brazilians there, making sure they didn't overcommit and run into the side one by one. It was nice pick control from Taco, boosting himself up on the half. Broken wall there, managing to take the initial player down, setting up his teammates to finish the round off. Lovely shots here from Jax. He was on 3 HP when he managed to get another kill as well. Look at that. 3 comes out. Manages to take the player down in pip. Unfortunately for them, they still will be on an eco here, but they didn't fully invest last round, so they can still play with smokes and flashbangs here. A couple of P250s. Kenny S with enough cash to get the AWP out in the next round as well, so that's good to see. G2 at this point would be happy saving a rifle. That's about as good as this round can get for them, unless MIBR make a terrible call and decide to push a position where they're stacked. But there's no stacks right now. G2 will start sending another player over towards the B side of the map, though. It's going to be Kenny S rotating. And in turn, Jax will join him as well. So they're anticipating a possible B approach here after having heavy presence towards A in the previous round. MIBR don't have to do too much here. They've got a MAC-10 in the hands of Fur. Run the default, see if you can get a bit of intel. Detect a stat. You want to send that MAC-10 in first just to combat those close-range players. He's not there right now. He's actually top of middle, so he could be just hunting for a bit of intel towards middle before they head in towards B. Calls have been made. Not 100% clear where they'll be going, but Phelps nowhere fast, I'm afraid. Taking down the 1D and challenging it by himself. That's not the play you want to be making.
11-6. It's not the play you want to be making, giving up a gun, potentially, and certainly ground early. They've gone and got the second AK picked back up, and they've got 3 now in total. But Fur on the MAC-10 is the one doing most of the work. Taco dropped. Another AK down. Keep that in mind for late round. If they win this out, Fur will want to upgrade on that, I should say, for free. He's already got great return on investment with the 2 kills at $600 reward. He's hedging his bets here. Does he want to push? and get more kills on the MAC-10, I think he's better to just go pick up the AK.
You might be right. So we're talking about that idea of Fur going in first, and maybe if he was challenging B, they need to smoke spawn for him, a couple of flashes over, a Molotov, send that MAC-10 in. He would have detected 2 or 3 players there, maybe got a kill, and instead Phelps challenges dry towards CT spawn, gets 1D, and hands over an AK towards Lucky.
Yeah, Fur's got the other one, though. So they do at least keep 3 of them, but yeah, they definitely gave a gun away in that situation, which is not ideal. Ideally, you want to lose the SMG, right?
Yes.
So
that's you really don't want that for the next gun round, so that would have been the call, really. Get him in there. He probably gets a kill if you just set it up correctly, but overall, 3 players survive. It's not a massive deal for MIBR. They've got money in the bank here. They're 12-6 up. They got the 3-0 again. So as far as they're concerned, everything's good. But Lucky, the shots he's been hitting today, he now has the AK-47 on the CT side. That is very beneficial. Allows you to take more audacious picks towards those key positions, go for the one-taps, and be a little bit more aggressive, perhaps, as we get into the first gun round of the second half. It is going to be a tactical timeout. I can confirm Kenny S brings out the AWP. He's currently sat on 11 frags and 13 deaths. At the very top is Shoxy, 15 and 16. AKs across the board from MIBR. They don't want to rely on the AWP just yet. Allows them to be a bit more nimble and agile. Good starts in either half. Started to go wrong at this point, though. Kenny S can be extremely powerful on this map. We've seen flashes of it at this event, but gonna see hopefully a lot more as Body looks to cross over towards mid. A down towards the T-steps area. Connects with reasonable damage.
Cold still waiting down at the bottom side of the underpass. He'll lob an aid toward top middle as well. No one at the wall. That's not going to do any damage. There is a bit done toward Lucky over toward B. He gets tagged down to 86. Phelps getting far more aggressive. Gets behind the half wall. So the default for MIBR, take Banana, take Boiler. Work the map in accordance to that. No kills so far. And Shox wants to reclaim some of the position lost. Probably wise that he backs off on that with the smoke already at the half wall. Boost, Fallen was already looking in that direction. You've got 3 players there. Really all you can use at that point is incendiaries to try and force them out. But that's a lot of defensive utility when you've only got 1 other smoke.
They got 1 smoke, 1 incendiary, but 5 terrorists on the other side of that B bomb site. If they can deploy that correctly, get the smoke down, incendiary when they finally commit, it could be enough.
Kenny's just done a massive amount of work. Just by getting aggressive enough to peek mid with the op late round, 40 seconds, saw no one in mid. There's no activity at Boiler. He knows that they're going to be in Banana at this point, so Body's rotated early. In fact, throwing utility already to try and prolong how much they have to work with, and it's worked out brilliantly because Lucky gets 2. Shox finds 1, falls off it cold. He got 1 kill back, but they're desperate to get the plant, so they'll stick to their guns in doing so. Fallen to put it down as Cold survives on 6 HP to watch Ruins, making sure he can do so. They've got angles, not a lot to work with. There's no kits on the CT side, but with 4 players, you'd think they can get in. Cold's using the fountain to perfection. 6 HP, he finds 2 kills, 3 in the round in total, and he's still working it in from Orange's 2. Kenny will finally pull him back, but he's given Fallen an absolute fighting chance at this.
Fallen has got a smoke here as they go towards the bomb. He needs to find the initial kill, and he's done that perfectly. Time ticking away. Kenny has no kit. He actually stands no chance there at all. Surely he has to save, and indeed he will. The round comes crushing down for G2 at that point. It's Cold Zera on low HP. Somehow manages to get 2 kills towards that coffin position. That's the kind of plays we expect from him. Perfectly positioned. Nails the shots and sticks the landing there. 3 kills, and then Fallen just has to find 1. No kits on Kenny S, and he falls back just to save that AWP. They continue their rampage here on Inferno, and it's going to be 13-6. And money is actually reasonable. We're going for a double AWP setup here on the CT side, but it looked like G2 round. Again, it looked like they had everything tied up, but that was the difference maker here. Cold Zera didn't hit him once. He had 6 HP for both of those kills.
Spectacular so far. 13-6 now. MIBR just 3 away. Certainly, I would have thought the favorites coming into this, but there was some doubt, skepticism over yesterday's performances in G2. They've been impressive at times. As Phelps gets up on the logs, he's going to lob an 8 in. That'll do. Should do. That didn't go far enough. I thought it was going to actually make it beyond the entrance point, but it won't. Nonetheless, direct trade. Body for Fur. Taco with the assist of Fur. Takes down Body. This double position now for the G2 side. Taco spots that and gets away with it. That's with an op there.
Yeah, it's a very Vital bit of information gathered, but Taco does go down in the end.
Very quick rotation. Kenny knew exactly what was happening. If they spotted him there, was going to back off. He just instantly jumped out of the door, went straight to the boiler, caught him off in transition. And Taco, I don't think, was expecting to be so quick. As Lucky, however, is equally as quick, it seems, on the AWP. He's got Phelps down, 2 ops, 3 kills between them, and they've got the advantage because it's down to just coldzera. And I don't think this time he'll get quite so lucky. Actually, he gets exactly that as he gets another kill on the op, 3 in total.
I see what you did there. Excellent work. And Lucky, he actually looked very calm under pressure. We're seeing some great plays from him and Jax, the names you might not be so familiar with. That's a nice 3K of the AWP. They managed to hold on to a double AWP setup after losing a disastrous round previous. So this is under pressure. That flick towards the boosted position is actually really, really difficult. And the fact he manages to land all 3 shots here without a miss really does light the fire beneath G2 as their first round in the second half. Will it be enough to really get them off the mark there? They do have 3 orgs, double orbs, Kenny S and Lucky, which seems to be a potent combination at this point, up against what looks to be a partial buy from MIBR. They've got 1 AK purchase so far. coldzera purchases that. The rest of them, though, not so well off. They might just have to go with some pistols and smokes and see if they can allow coldzera to find an opening and capitalize upon it. So it is just him, but his money around 2,300. So he invests, he had a bit more money than his teammates. And we'll see if he can do any damage here. A lot of top teams like to experiment with this setup. If he can cause 2 or 3 kills, get a bomb down, there's a chance he can win the round. And he can still buy next round anyway, so that's okay.
Bonnie. Incendiary goes down on the bottom side of mid. Kenny S is throwing it. He's going to try and hold off the position, but they're giving up access to alt middle, or rather not peeked it. It's not like you give that up. Typically, it's not something you play for, but that does mean Jax now gets a bit of pressure applied onto him inside of the apartment position. He's already smoked off the Molotov. That's going to hold the terrorists in position just a little bit longer and cold. He's the one that really wants to open up the map with the AK. He's playing with his teammates at this point, so it's not the solo man at B that has that gun. That's Phelps, just making sure no one's pushing down. They won't be pincered in, that GT won't lock the map on them, if you will.
We'll see if they can get the smoke down here. Ideally smoking towards library, flashing towards the bomb site here. Jax in position as the flashbang comes through, and it's up to the T's to get out of the apartment.
Well, this is significant because Jax is the only one directly on the site. Kenny and Body were doubled up on the arch side watching the wall. The fact that 4 now, oh my goodness, I thought he hit that one too. The fact that they get out from the apartment and there's no one in position other than Jax, they get a bomb plant down, that's almost an ideal situation for MIBR.
Well, the flashbang was very good indeed, and they have a coldzera AK. This is what it's designed to do, get them in a position like this, and we'll see if he can find the headshots now.
Oh,
dang, damage not coming through, and it's still coldzera alive. He'll have to do the heavy lifting here.
Cold is absolutely out of it. Lucky again. Lucky on the second op looks solid. They do get the retake. That's fine, but it's a bomb plant down from MIBR. Give them a bit more money. 8 rounds nonetheless for G2.
Impressive they actually got out of the apartment so effectively there as well. You could see the CT's not really expecting such a fast approach towards the apartments there. They get the bomb down, the initial kill, coldzera in the pit as well. You'd think he'd get a couple of kills in that sort of position, but unable to land the headshots. It's coldzera just now 23 kills and 15 deaths. Good to see him posting big numbers, and classically on Inferno, even with this lineup, over the years, he's always been their #1 performer on Inferno. He gets him out of a lot of difficult situations. So good at clutching on this particular map. Another gun round comes through. AKs across the board for the terrorists, and Kenny S inspecting towards second middle. Not going to find anyone just yet. His teammate's trying to protect him, but unfortunately, the AWPers drop, and Jax makes up for it. He gets a couple of kills himself, and he might want a bit more out of this. Taco has been taken down as well. Ding to the initial segment of the round. The nade will follow up, and it's a 4 versus 2 in favor of the French side here. They really are coming to life in the latter stages of each half so far.
Absolutely so, yeah. MIBR, every time it seems like they're starting to run away, G2 just reins them back in slowly, and I have to give a lot of credit to Lucky on the second op so far in this half. Good position from Fur. He'll find Body as he works out from the boiler doorway.
Yeah, he had 8 HP as well. Surprising he even goes for that. You're just playing a one and done position at that stage when you're so low, but offers himself up. That's the window of opportunity now. Fur and coldzera. A scary prospect for G2 here, and they're going to play one player in towards the library, very defensively, not actually peeking the outside, just watching for anyone crossing towards the bomb site. So, it's Lucky with the AWP. Might be able to get one out of this, maybe both. He gets the initial shot, doesn't have to repeat this, just got the information, stay alive, but does give himself up to coldzera.
Gets Lucky down, you're right, but he's tagged at 22 immediately after from the player in the pit. That's Jax. They're going to divide this up 1-1. They know he's tagged. So they'll hold each bomb site. They do not want to give another bomb plant to MIBR because they know they're broken as well now. And at 13-9, They're within range. Cold swings around. He gets Jack's bomb to be planted now inevitably. 18 seconds, tons of time to realize he's wide open and all alone as Shox will rotate through mid as well. He'll go down Banana to get there.
He's got a smoke, an HE, but he has no information as to what position Shox will approach from. He's actually chosen top of middle here. Shoxy has no kit, so he can't be as methodical and as slow as he would like. He knows he had the advantage. coldzera is tagged up, but will he be able to detect him towards that graveyard?
Shox still working in. Cold, good find, but not enough. Shox got the shot in return. The AUG will win it out, and no question he has time for the defuse. So it's going to be 9, and again, they're going to be broken, but a bomb plant down. And if I'm not mistaken, 4 rounds in a row, 3. So 3 with 2 bomb plants, a little bit of extra money. The bomb plant in this one mattering more than the last. They've already spent that money, but they're going to be very tight.
Decent attempt there from coldzera. There's a 4 versus 2 that comes right down to the 1 versus 1. So close. Maybe if he just held towards the graveyard and stayed defensive, might have been a catch him off guard. Went for the peek. If he had a bit more HP, he probably wins it. Here's Jax at the start of the round, protecting Kenny S, as you saw there, but he went down, but still, they win the round. Not a huge deal, but coldzera does get the plant through. They've got about $4,000 per player right now, but a couple of them hovering around 3,500. They might not go for the full commitment here on the MIBR side. As they'll discuss their options, it's their turn for a tactical timeout here. You can see 3 rounds in a row coming in for G2, looking to get into the double digits here. MIBR don't have a massive amount of pressure this round. They don't have to commit to this. I think just a pistol buy with some armor. 1 AK is coming out again. coldzera is really feeling it right now with 25 frags. He wants to cause damage. It's cost him every dollar he has. But they are starting to home in on a big loss bonus. So if they can get the plant down again, this will be worth it.
So Shox goes back out. He wants to hold at the wall and try and go beyond that. He's going to get aggressive, get all the way down, clear out Cubby as well. Lucky supports him in getting in that position. He'll stay there for now. Shox is almost in a 1 and done, so as much as they have information, it's not like he's peeking for it. He's waiting for them to arrive, so they can't rotate the 3rd player off of it. Very passive this time as well from Body and Kenny. They're not going to go as aggressive to more mid-wall. And as such, MIBR doesn't have an easy time to get toward the bomb site at any facet. Cold on the AK. They're relying on it. They really want Cold to return to the form that he had in previous years. And you know what? So far today, he is 25 kills. He's well ahead of everyone else. The next closest on 18, both from his side and the other. Shox, Lucky, and Fallen all on that total. Speaking of Lucky, he's the one that needs to step out now. Pull some of the aggro away from Shox for exactly that reason, because they're all over. What a reaction from Cold. That AK, he gets both, and they're not lined up. That's not a lineup. That's 2 taps at different angles.
I told you, coldzera on the T side of Inferno can be absolutely wild. We'll see whether he can continue the form here. And so they make their way towards middle. They've only got 30 seconds remaining. Jax towards top of middle. It's Kenny S looking to find the next kill. Perfectly done. Someone had to be active there at the start of the round. It's worked out for him. Falls back towards the bomb site here. Can he find Taco as well? He'll actually have to drop a smoke or a Molotov out. We'll see. Kenny S just looking to get in that position where he can play off his teammate.
Watch Jax, though. Kenny's blind, but Jax swung out exactly when they were committing. Oh, no, Cold. He's done so much good work with the AK to open the round. He takes down his teammate, but he might still get away with this. 3. Oh, he's run out of time. He couldn't get there at all. Body, he's going to hold it off. Cold knows it, and Body's won the round. It's 13-10. No money, but he keeps the AK-47. And they'll be able to buy around that, so it's actually not the worst case in the world. He's still got a bomb plant down for a little bit of personal money, but still nothing beyond that.
G2 have broken double digits at this point. We'll see if they can continue here. That was another partial buy from MIBR, but they had the AK. This fantastic work from coldzera. That's absolutely beautiful. Not enough time to win out the round, though, and killing his teammate. And it must have been a moment of madness. Quite open there. No CTs, just so in the zone. Did it for a couple of HP, and down he went. Being able to win the round off that one, but we'll see as the next round continues. AKs are out once again. coldzera does have armor after investing in the previous round. His money's absolutely fine. And here's Lucky. Aggressive again. Seems to have found his confidence. He's like willing to take aggressive duels now and actually winning a lot of them.
Well, and the AWP, that's a skill that, sure, I knew he was going to be playing on the double op. We've seen hints of it, but this game, he's been spectacular. Doesn't have it to work with this time on B, so he held the angle for the boost at mid-wall. He's backed off this time directly into Emo, so he's very passive on the B side. No one, in fact, in Banana at all, and Phelps is going to welcome himself to that. He's starting to check that out, so watch to see if MIBR falls back with that information. 4-man rotation to A. And Phelps might just make contact. If he does, and they wrap, they've got to get by body, because they could have exploited a mid to B split. The problem is, that's exactly where the second player from A is gone, so they've got the stance. Body's run out of ammo, where that was another kill. And he tries to get him back in.
Doing the damage, it seems. Body calls for backup from Kenny S here. The AWP not landing as many shots, but the USB certainly is. They got the bomb down towards the arch side. The 5 versus 2. Kenny S is just relentless at this stage. It's another clean sweep for G2 here. That's not looking too good for MIBR. This is where they really start to slow down. When their defaults stop working, they lose a couple of clutches. Their Inferno T side can be questionable at points. It's been this case for a couple of years now. If they have the momentum and everything's going great, it looks fantastic. But as soon as they get hit with a few rounds, a couple of resets, they start to drop off. G2 are certainly back in this game now, as Kenny S is finding his confidence too. 18 kills to his name. You can see him getting fired up. It means a lot. We've got a lot to prove at this major, I suppose.
Kenny is known, I mean, you go back to 2015 in Cologne, the major. They didn't quite win in the final. He was crying on stage. He's been in games before where he's playing absolutely out of his mind, and you wonder how the hell he can even aim the mouse because he's shaking with so much adrenaline. He's been on both sides of the emotional table in terms of upset and jubilation, but now it's just about digging deep for these guys, and if they can beat MIBR and go 2-1, that's remarkable.
Inferno
for both sides, for G2 and for MIBR to be down 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's weird that MIBR, these best of ones, keep landing here. Like, from the results and the games we cast, it just doesn't seem like a spectacular map for them. But either way, it is going to be a partial round once again. CZs and Deagles, we saw what Kenny S was capable of with the Deagle previously. And unfortunately, Phelps won't have a chance to show us what he's capable of. The nades land and take him down.
That's a pretty good read, because they threw a Molotov, which, if it was early, you'd expect no one to be up that high in Banana. But they thought there was a chance one got by, so they nade struck the top of it, thinking if they got any damages all from the Molotov, they'll get him. So they actually worked that out pretty smartly. Fur with 1 on body, but burned from the grave. Body gets revenge. It's the advantage still then to G2.
Couldn't really access the bomb side there at all. They were going to commit towards B, but the Molotov held them off. Jackson second middle, waiting for this retreat. Nice shot from Taco. At least makes this round possible for them now. He has the AUG at this point. Smoking towards the arch side. It just about blooms in time. It goes down to 45, and here's the bomb on his back. His teammate coldzera waiting towards B, looking to take down this low HP Lucky. He might be able to do that, or to sneak through spawn and see if he can pincer the A side.
Deagle. Inside water already. Can actually catch Lucky off. He had no idea he was in that far. He was still watching the entrance point. Doesn't want to go get the gun, smartly so. Smokes it off. That would have given him a chance to get there perhaps, but didn't want the risk of getting sprayed down. And Kenny's already spotted that he's gone toward ruins. He himself, though, tagged to 55. Has to be very careful and aware of the fact that Taco should be arriving at any point. He has, and he'll plant with 8 seconds. He knows there's a gun in the back of the site. And he's got the AUG to work with. Cold. Kenny's already spotted him, remember. He's just holding ruins. That means Kenny either has to go aggressive with the AWP and catch off Cold, or work back around and go CT. Cold figures he's still there because Taco's not Cold. He's gone any further. Gets the Deagle shot, and Shocks might just bail. He might just grab the op and work his way out. Not a ton of money on the CT side, and Cold's denying that as well. Spectacular.
That's his 30th kill. They come in with a partial buy, and we know they can be dangerous with the pistols, but coldzera's Deagle sometimes can be absolutely world-class, and that's a perfect example of it, as he manages to pick them off one by one. Lovely awareness as well. They're in a 2 versus 3 situation. He crawls in towards B, knowing that one player's there. He's got no health at all, gets himself towards the pool position, waits for his moment, and at this stage, manages to juke out Kenny S there and finish off Shocks as well. Absolutely astonishing work. That's going to be 14-11. Another buy for G2 here. They've had a lot of rounds in a row, but they have been close. Scoreboard's coming through. Body, 12 and 21. He has lost 6 of the 7 opening duels for them.
Yeah, that's not ideal. MIBR just 2 rounds away. Kenny, he's going to fight forward. Molotov behind. This position's brilliant. They're going to get one and get away cleanly as well. And with the boost, they get one, but body. There you go. That's much better. Turns it around and finds 2. Fallen and Taco go down. They spotted one at the top of the stairs, not the other. And it is just Cold and Phelps. to go against Lucky at B. Oh, he's fully blind. Phelps just barely spotted, just barely got the vision back. He'll go down before he reaches safety, and it's all onto Cold now.
It really is. He certainly can get a bomb down here. That's probably as good as it gets. We'll see. As he holds up, looking for that plant. They're going to stick together. Surely he can't get both. There's the first, but won't suspect the second. As soon as he goes to this plant, he'll be taken down.
I thought he was going to repeat it. I thought he was going to absolutely style on Lucky. 14-12, the important thing to note about that, 5 rounds in a row, that's a full reset. So MIBR, they're fortunate because the round they won, they didn't invest in to have some residual cash. Fallen, he's got 44. He's not quite in op range. Cold has 57. They've gone for the solo AK before. Okay, they're going to do 2 this time.
You can't really argue the results. If Cold Zero is playing like he is and he's confident, says, I want to buy this, I want to give it a go, you just let him get on with it. It's a really scary prospect at this point. If you give this round up, you'd have to take an eco next, and that'll tie things up at 14-14, but they're looking to answer back quickly here.
Yeah, they want to break G2. And it's not a bad call because they've got 2 rounds. If this was 14-13, I'd say take the save, because otherwise you run the risk of giving them that point. So they've got just enough to do this. Now, whether or not it pays off, that's another story. Fallen is going to be selfless as well. He bought the AK. He's got enough skill, we know that, to play it, but he gives it to Fur, the other explosive player on the roster. Back to the old MIBR, certainly showing signs of it. Like you say, 31 kills for Cold. That's more what we're used to.
That is much more like him. But can he make it dent in round number 27 here? It's 14-12 in favor of MIBR. They've got towards the end of the apartments, and Body just waiting for flashbangs here. Aggressive position. Taken back somewhat. Kenny S watching middle. Terrorists do have a couple of smokes and flashbangs here, as they'll flash towards middle now. Kenny S does miss a shot.
Oh my. I am so surprised they get out on this because they had 4-man with crossfires on both sides of mid, and yet it falls apart. Shox gets one back on Fallen, but the explosion from the apartments is what's going to win them this round. Unless Shox can somehow get in, he's got to be so sly. Smokes down toward Library. He pretty much has to hold this position because he has no teammates. Lucky wants to push to get him information. He wants to try and get through the smoke quickly. The kid is on his back, however. So if he goes through and dies, that's further that they have to go to get the defuse. And look at how many players are inside the site for MIBR.
They're waiting for that flashbang. Shoxy makes his move, but only good for one. The stack on the site completely shuts them down. But Cold Zera, he will continue to find frags here, and it looks like Kenny S will be removed as well. How many kills is this boy going to find? 34 now, and another partial by victory to find the 15th round for MIBR.
And it breaks the bank. G2's got very little to work with. That's a brilliant call to force buy on that round. And again, it comes from the fact that they won with little weapons. Cold gets a spectacular, a phenomenal Deagle round. It gets them an AUG that they carry over. That little bit of extra money. Sure, they lose the next round, but it means that's one more gun, essentially, they didn't buy, and it showed, because Cold had 5,700 last round. AKs and UMPs, and a victory, perhaps for the map as well. Just one to go.
He turned up the play today. Oh my goodness, still regulation. He's got 34 kills. Presumably they close it out here. Cold Zera has been on an absolute Counter-Strike clinic today. Always does an Inferno. I'm not super confident in MIBR's ability as a team to play this map, but him as an individual, he always seems to pull out all the stops. All for Fallen now, up against, not a lot to be honest, G2 with 1 M4, 3 pistols, an SMG, bare bones utility, and no kits. You can see how low they are. No helmets purchased. Won't be a big deal against these AKs. It's still indicative as to where they're at right now, as MIBR look to close things out with a B execution here. You're going to see Shoxy, the only rifle, playing the B site. He has no grenades map. Nothing at all. If he multi-frags this, he is a god.
Smokes, flashes, Molotovs. Molotovs, we know this is exactly what MIBR used to do in the old days. You clear out both orange sides, and the addition of Emo, they've got that back. This is old school. This is 2016 strat from MIBR, and it's worked out perfectly. They knew they only had to worry about the middle of the site. That's exactly where Shox was.
That's exactly what it's designed to do, just eradicate all danger around the bomb site. They can focus and hone in on the key points in our Molotovs. This should be it now. That's the only rifle going down for G2. It is map and indeed match point, as now the retake begins with UMPs and pistols.
This game's got an old school feel to it. G2, Kenny and Shox performing. You've got old MIBR back in form, and with the victory, 16-12. Not to discount the Youngblood either. I'm impressed with Lucky and Jax, both of them finally having a better game than we've seen so far, but nonetheless, It's 2-1 for the Brazilians, and I do think overnight they definitely made some adjustments and talked things over. Maybe Taco was right. Maybe it was a little bit of nerves getting back to an all-Portuguese-speaking lineup.
Well, coldzera certainly wasn't nervous at all. He finishes the game on 34 frags and 18 deaths. He was the absolute powerhouse behind the team there, making sure the clutches came in their favor, and that wasn't an easy game. G2 didn't roll over at all. They lost both pistols. They managed to have a resurgence in both paths and actually had some excellent gun rounds. They can take a lot of information away from that and hopefully build upon it. They're 1-2 now, but not out of the tournament.
Exactly. Not out of the tournament. They switched to best of threes. In fact, both teams switched to best of threes. All deciders and all elimination matches are exactly that. In other words, today, with the one-on-one matches, are the end of our best of ones. We have got one going on the B stream currently. We've got one more on either stream, and then we get to judgments. There'll be some teams going home as early as today, and we'll have some teams moving on 3-0 as well, which means they'll have lots of time to prepare for next week.
That preparation, especially you get to watch all the games as they develop and see your rivals and what they're up to. It's MIBR who will be taking the victory here. We've got plenty more Counter-Strike action for you.
That's the smiles we want to see from MIBR as well. Cold looks pleased. That's a better performance from him, undoubtedly. Fallen rather. Working with Zeus. We know the communication between them is legendary. They're back together. That's another story, not just the players. But speaking of Taco and being back on MIBR, he's standing by with Frankie.
Hello, Taco. Well, welcome back to MIBR. I know you've been practicing with the guys since the end of last year. How does it feel to be back with your mates?
It's really good, and yesterday was not a really good for us. It was not the way we expected, but we were all nervous. So yeah, I'm really happy to be back with the guys. Yeah, let's try to make history again.
And speaking of the nerves, I feel like you had a much more confident start today. Would that be right?
Can you repeat? Because my teammates are really loud outside.
Guys. Boys, we're trying to do an interview here. I know you're excited. You played a lot better than yesterday. Congratulations. But I need to talk to Taco about it. Now, Taco. Yesterday, very nervous. Today, how did you feel?
Today, we were really calm. Even though some situations, some rounds we threw away, yeah, we had the control of this game, I felt like, at least. Of course, we have a lot to improve. But our mindset, talking about our mindset for today, was really great. Everyone was really calm. So yeah, let's go step by step. Let's keep going.
And I just want to ask you as well, because I know you were in Liquid, you learnt this NA play style, and you're trying to bring it back and insert it into this roster. So how is that blend of the styles going?
This is something that it's hard to talk about because we are still figuring out the way we're gonna play. Of course, we have that Brazilian style, and of course we're gonna have a little bit of it. But I don't know, CS:GO changed a lot, and you know, we are still trying to learn the best way to play. We are a super new team, but yeah, I think the style that we use in 2017 it still works a lot, and it's beautiful CS, I would say.
Well, we did see that old school style closing out that match. Congratulations, Taco. Go and celebrate with your very noisy teammates. We love a little bit of a party here on the stage in Katowice. We need to head back to the desk.
Thank you very much, Frankie. Suggesting his old style, that's right. The none other than MIBR's old style, in Taco's eyes, works. We'll find out if our analysts think the same, gents, because you were hesitant to say that they can do it again. Astralis, of course, raising the bar, I believe, were your words, Chen.
If by the old style you mean coldzera having to drop 35 kills for them to get across the line and winning some clutch situations that probably shouldn't have gone their way, then yeah, the old style definitely works. The fact of the matter is these are the same problems that they were having before, right? Yeah. On their T side, sure, it wasn't as late as when they played against Cloud9, but they were still losing some very rudimentary situations that I would be expecting a team of this caliber to be closing out. I would want to give a lot of praise to G2 here, and especially Lucky.
Sure. I actually think Fallen had a phenomenal first half. I don't think we should overlook that, but yeah, Cold bailed him out so many times on this T side. That 2v4 with Fallen when he was holding construction with 6 HP.
With the Deagle? Yeah.
Well,
oh, no, that was a different one.
Round,
yeah, that was a different round.
So a lot of the success coming from MIBR's T side came directly from Cold. This was a vintage coldzera performance.
Yeah, I actually wanted to highlight that round you're talking about on the B bomb side, the 2-on-5 it was. They managed to, have a really good B defense against 5 from G2. But then the retake situation, when I went and watched it back, Shox just chose to swing from construction when one of his teammates was ready with a flash. If he had just waited for that flash, or at least called for it instead of going for a heads-up duel, then they could have picked together. What happened was Shox went on his own. That forced Body to come for the trade. He was out of position. He gets killed. and now 2 players have to make their way up CT spawn. So all in all, G2 a little bit unlucky.
Yeah, unlucky, but lucky performing. That's another one to take away as G2 now are on death's door. A best of 3 for survival will be their next port of call. Ours is a break. Spectacular work from coldzera. 1.7 or close enough rating. 35 frags in regulation. That is the coldzera that is in attendance here in Katowice. More from them later, but coming up after the break, we get to see Vitality take on Cloud9.